there, campers. While we're gathering around the campfire, we just want to let you know we are not what you would call experts. What we do have is a love for researching and discussing the lore of cryptids, creatures,
and an occasional spooky woman that can eat our soul.
So if you are in need of immediate help with the chupacabra in your yard, please consult someone else.
Also, this podcast isn't for kids. These campfire stories can contain graphic and explicit content that may not be suitable for young campers, so listener discretion is advised. Hi, campers. My name is Kimmy, and I'm here with my co-host Ryan.
You know what? Welcome back to Aloreing, our folklore podcast where we tell you history and stories of different legends and folklore from around the whole dang world.
And I should learn sign language for our intro because I don't know.
No,
what.
I'm gonna keep throwing you off just a little bit each time. Never have the same pacing.
If I just start flipping
people.
off,
that's the trick.
Just give the bird in every language during the whole introduction, and then we'll be on the same page the whole time. Woo! Well, Ryan, let's get into this because, man, it's been a minute since you and I have recorded.
It has been. Yeah, why did we take so long? I don't know why we took so long to break. This episode, the fact that this episode is being recorded right now, honestly, miracle. I delayed, and then Kimmy delayed, and then I think I delayed again. And here we are. Yeah, and here we are, almost a week late. This is the closest we've recorded an episode to the actual release date, though, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah, we are on it, is what I like to think. And it's okay. We all have breakdowns, and I may have had a little bit.
It happens to the best of us.
I was like, it's still snowing. Why is it still snowing?
Yeah.
And now it's 70 outside, so life is grand.
98 degrees today.
Disgusting.
I got in my car and it said 105 inside my car after work, and I was not happy.
You're like, why is the seatbelt hot?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be hot.
It was hotter than my hot tub gets outside. So I won't be using that for a few months now.
No, just throw some ice cubes in it. Make it a cool tub.
Make it a cool tub. I'm just going to turn off the heat completely and just let nature do its thing.
Just make a pond.
Yeah.
Solution.
There it is.
Get some koi.
Yep.
Pull a 90s. Mm-hmm. Make a pond.
Beautiful.
Okay. Weather is not an Aloreing thing. I'm happy it's spring, but wow, she jumped it.
Yeah.
So what is your Aloreing thing this week?
Can I talk about the thing I have question marked? Because I wasn't sure.
Yes, you can.
Well,
we'll talk about it again in announcements.
I'm trying to go slow because it's burning. We made candles. Me and Kimmy met up. How long ago was this? 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago? And oh my god, they smell so freaking good. Candles smell a lot different when you burn them, apparently. And I was like, man, all of our candles smell really good. And I've been burning them the last couple days. Oh my goodness. My room smells like, I don't know, the best it's ever smelled. And this isn't because we made them. They genuinely smell really good.
So we worked with a Southern Utah candle making artist, which may have been my mother. She's super talented. She was telling me there was a word for it. She's like, we need to test it was aroma something of the room to see how it fills the room and how long it stays like that. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, she was teaching both of us
Yeah.
to get really into candles.
I was afraid to light the candle because she gave us like a homework assignment before we light them. So like I literally have a timer going right now, and like I'm like taking notes on like the smells because I don't want to disappoint your mom.
I thought it was really great because Ryan's like met my family once at
ages
college
ago.
graduation.
Yeah.
And then like I thought it was so funny because my mom was like, wow, he reminds me a lot of your younger brother. I was like, yeah, that was kind of trippy. Like when you looked at the photo in the hallway, you guys like looked the same, and I was
Same
like,
person.
oh, same. So we've decided Ryan and my brother are doppelgangers. It's fine.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna visit when he's there. So
there will be a portal that opens.
Yeah.
And just screams.
Yeah, nothing good will come out of that. But yeah, we'll talk more about those candles at the end. Stay tuned. Very exciting. But what did you find alluring this week, Kimmy?
Man, I'm gonna do a personal workout goal.
Okay.
Alluring thing because I'm really proud. Since what is it? When was that? Holy shit! I want to say December.
Mm-hmm.
I have like changed my diet completely, and I went from like 230 to 180, and it's healthy. And I'm like super proud of myself.
That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. It's been a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Quarantine made me a little bit of an emotional eater, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, like whatever you're comfortable with. And I was just like, you know, I miss like feeling strong. You know, I didn't like when I felt really skinny. For me personally, it was really hard because I just felt weak all the time. Like I was always tired. And now I'm like, I don't feel so tired. I can lift and I feel great. So
just buff.
Just buff. Like on those protein shakes, gym life, bro. I'm kidding. I can't even do half a pull-up. I can get close.
That's
but
okay. I mean, most people can't.
Pull-ups are hard,
They're
man.
really hard. I can't.
My boyfriend just comes and he just does a few, and I'm like, I can do it because like competition, and I get like halfway there, and I'm like, you know what I can do that you can't do though is a headstand and a handstand and yoga. So then I feel accomplished.
Everyone has their strengths, you know.
And lifting myself up is definitely not mine. So I would not survive in a zombie apocalypse, but if I had to teach them a yoga vinyasa flow, I'm your girl.
Pretend I knew what that means. You know who likes to lift other people up and then push them down? This week's folklore. Let's jump into it. That transition will make sense later for our listeners. When the vow dissolves the snowy horde, and floating the jingle icy board, then the water kelpies haunt the ford. By your direction, and nighted travelers are allured to their destruction. Word bums addressed to the deli. What are we talking about?
So, many have heard of a famous water spirit that lurks deep in the Loch Ness. And no, this isn't sweet old Nessie, but a much darker spirit that will snatch up its victims only to drown and devour them. That being said, be cautious of any horse you see near a loch, and if one seems like it's tamed enough to ride, maybe best if you ignore it and you carry on your merry way. Because you might meet the same fate as many before you who were drawn in by this creature's magical presence. So this week, we will be talking about the malicious water spirit from Scottish folklore. These creatures have many close ties to the lochs throughout Scotland and have been a major part of Scottish folklore, becoming quite popular during the 19th century. And we are going to be talking about Kelpies, because I realized I never put the name for what these creatures were in that sentence. And this is my illustration for all of our lovely audio listeners. You can go to our website, aloreing.com, check it out on our blog, or you can go to our Instagram or Facebook or Pinterest and see this lovely image. And I love this. And this is coming from someone that hates horses. So I am quite proud of this one. It's just like swampy, dangerous horse in blue magical energy vibes.
I'm going to hold my opinion on horses to myself because I'd like to keep podcasting.
Are you not about horses as well?
And they're not about me.
Ryan, our friendship level grew because
there's some trauma there.
We will get into it because listen, we'll get into it. I'm not even going to jump the gun on that. I'm just going to let the fates come and the chaos come. Trick all the people that like horses into listening to us for a minute.
Yeah, we here at Aloreing love horses.
Hashtag horses for life. Horse girl life. I can't even fake it. So the tales of Kelpies have been around since the early 6th century, and though it's unclear the exact origins of these stories, we do know they were first believed to be rooted to human sacrifices to water gods. Now, however, this idea... Sorry, I'm just chuckling of what's to come. I'm so giddy today. So, however, this idea didn't last.
How human sacrifices really gets Kimmy going on.
There's a fire behind these hazel eyes, you guys. Just burns for the sacrifices of those unworthy. We're going to get demonetized one day, would I say?
It's fine.
So the idea of this didn't last, and as years went by, these water spirits were used more as a cautionary tale to those who wandered near the locks and less as a sacrificial one. So it's believed that every sizable body of water throughout Scotland had a Kelpie who reside in or around it. From human sacrifices to cautionary tales to legends of them, they varied from one loch to another. So the one story that puts these mystical creatures on the map was the legend of the Kelpie of the Loch Ness. So, during the early 19th century, there was a legend of a Kelpie who haunted the woods and shores of the Loch Ness, who was tagged up with its own saddle and bridle. Bridley? Wow, you guys can tell I don't... Bridle? I think it's bridle.
Yeah.
It's a horse part.
Yeah,
it's the thing that goes on their mouth. That's the thing. So a fable attached to this notorious nasty creature was that the Highlander James McGregory taking it by surprise and cutting off its bridle, the source of its powers in life, which means it would die in 24 hours. So as the Kelpie had the power of speech, it attempted to unsuccessfully bargain with McGregory for the return of its bridle. After following the human to his home, the Kelpie asserted that McGregory would be unable to enter his house while in possession of this because the presence of the cross above the entrance of the door.
Amen.
But McGregory had a few tricks up his sleeve and outwitted the creature by tossing it through the window.
Oh.
So the Kelpie accepted its fate and left cursing and swearing.
Damn it.
And I just want to pause for a second because the idea, if you only put a blessing symbol over your front door and spirits are like, I'm just going to go in through a window, is the funniest thing to me.
Yeah. It's smart. It's a loophole.
It's like vampires can't enter unless you call them, but where do windows lie in that whole grand scheme of things?
An open window's an invitation.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So all you thirsty vampire lovers out there, open your windows.
Yeah.
This legend resulted in more tales of how the bridle, now referred to as the Willock's ball and bridle, was passed down through the family and had magical powers of healing. A spell was made by placing the items in the water while chanting, "In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost," and the water could then be used as a cure.
Oh.
So, for the longest time, many referred to this Kelpie as the Loch Ness Monster. But as time went on, this creature and old Nessie became two vastly different things. And if you'd like to learn more about sweet old Nessie, go check out episode 27, We're Storming Loch Ness, because we covered that topic already.
And we're still gonna storm it one day. Don't worry.
Oh, when we get the Patreon.
Yeah. Oh boy, we're coming, Nessie.
When we get the Patreon funds, I got so excited I had a hiccup in that. You guys, what's gonna happen?
So for our video watchers, I want you to lock in your guess now where you think Kimmy's alignment chart's going to be. And for our audio listeners, her picture she has is of some attractive women in the water swimming around. So I'm going to also say you guys lock in where you think her alignment chart's going to be. Don't worry about anything she says. Just, lock it in. All right. Remember your answer.
You're so quick to judge. I hate that you act like you know me so well. You just really don't, Ryan. And I feel like years of friendship, I would just expect better from you.
You're editing your alignment chart right now. Like, shit, he's on to me. I
just have to move it slightly so that I could tell you you're the most judgmental human being ever. It's going a little down now.
Yeah, oh boy, that's crazy.
If people didn't know, the criticism I get from Ryan during the episode determines on how far up or to the side the alignment gets placed. And it's because I'm petty and spiteful. Mm-hmm. So it may start all the way good. And as I get more sass, it moves over to the left, then a little down. It just keeps going. So now, Kelpies have been mistaken as the Loch Ness Monster for centuries.
Classic.
But there are a few different creatures around the world that are very similar to these water spirits. The first one is Nickies? I can never say that right. And yeah.
The one we did a whole episode on it?
We did a whole episode on it. Woo! This is why Kimmy has her pronunciations in the notes and didn't put them in today. If you want to learn about them and hear me pronounce it right, go to episode 9, Nixies, Old Ladies and Frogs. Oh my.
Nixies, Old Ladies and Frogs. Oh my.
There we go. That's it. The next one is the Weewin, which is a malevolent water spirit of Central America, particularly associated with the Mosquito tribe. I said that so wrong. I'm sorry, everybody. And finally is the Bunyip, which is a creature from mythology of southeastern Australia, said to lurk in the swamps, creeks, riverbeds, and water holes. So, though they are all very similar to Kelpies, they are in a field of their own, and as a result made a major impact in art, literature, and the world during the early 20th century. This resulted in there being tons of paintings, literature, poems, statues of these nautical horses everywhere. And way more of the nautical horse aspect than the people aspect. Yeah. But we'll get more into that. So now, it is unclear where the etymology of the Scots word Kelpie comes from, but there's a possibility that is derived from the Gaelic word Kalpa or Callipich, which translates to heifer or clot. So the word Kelpie is also known to have many different spellings, and that's due to the interest people had in transcribing folklore during the late 19th centuries. This resulted in an inconsistent spelling and words being angelicized. So pretty much, you know how Mormon families name their children really ridiculous names? Like,
yeah,
it'll be like
Brinley.
Yeah, and then it has like 7 Y's in it and an A and then some weird symbol. Like that's what was happening to the name of Kelpies.
Okay.
So it was all said the same. It's just the spelling was way out of hand.
Okay.
So we're not going to go through all the different ways it was spelled.
Yeah.
Just
Because it's all said the same.
Correct.
Yeah.
And now we got our origins, we got our word meaning. I want to hand it over to Ryan because he's got a full-on story for us this week.
Ooh. All right.
Ooh.
This is the Folk Tales of Moor and Mountain by Winfried Finley. All right. Once upon a time, there lived a water horse on the island of Barra in the Outer Hebrides, which lie off the west coast of Scotland. Now, a water horse, people believed, had magic powers so that he could live happily in his home at the bottom of the loch. But when he swam up to the surface and reached dry land, then he could gallop about as an ordinary horse, or he could change himself into a man just as he pleased. The water horse was a magnificent black creature with long legs, brown eyes, and a splendid flowing mane. And because he was very good-natured and never caused anyone any harm, he got on well with the fairies who lived by in a nearby hill, and with the humans who lived in the hamlet not too far away, and earned a living by farming and fishing. He's probably a great fisherman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
they're probably just in shock because out comes a horse and in goes a man kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
They're more like scared and in shock and they don't know how to quite respond to it.
So before I continue, coming up we have some acting. Would you like to be the water horse or the girl from the Hamlet?
You know, I think you would be a magical girl from Hamlet, so right. I can do
perfect. You'll be
water
these
horse
ones then, the green guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So after several hundred years, however, the water horse began to feel lonely. The fairies had moved from their underground home because people no longer believed in them, and whenever he changed himself into a young man, human beings did not seem to be as friendly as they once had been, saying that they had no time to sit and talk with him because they had to see to the milking, or start plowing, or set snares for rabbits, or search for bait, or put the children to bed. They're just busy people, you know. They don't have time for a mythical creature.
So the horse goes, "What I need is a wife."
The water horse thought.
"Every morning I catch fresh fish for breakfast, and in case she does not like raw fish, as I do, I shall build a fireplace and a chimney in my house at the bottom of the loch, and she can sit in front of it and cook meals on it, just as all humans do."
Yeah, I'm not quite sure he understands how fire works, but you know. So rising to the surface of the loch, he shook the water from his magnificent black mane and galloped off through the reeds and right across the island, looking to right and to left in search of a suitable wife. So there were not many girls on Barra, and each one seemed to have a little something wrong with her. From the water horse's point of view, that is. One was too fat, so would be lazy. The other, too thin and would eat too much. That one too thin and would eat too much? Because she's too thin. Oh, so
she's going to eat because now she has access to food.
Oh, gotcha. Another was too tall, and a fourth too small, and a fifth so ugly that the water horse knew he could never bear to see her face every morning across the breakfast table. Now, just remember where Kimmy's going to have her alignment chart, folks. So
Listen, you're so quick to judge, and I'm so tired because you don't know me, Ryan.
I don't know you. So to be fair, he is a particular water horse, Kimmy.
You're judging me like the water horse is judging all these broads. I don't appreciate it. Right?
And the sixth had really toxic taste in beautiful folklore.
Get the fuck out of here.
So he was, as you saw, a very particular water horse. And having lived alone
That's the
for
word.
hundreds of years, at some point, maybe look inward, he had grown rather selfish. So that never for one moment did he consider what the girls may think of him.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, imagine if a water horse was like, she's ugly to wake up to. And she
Like,
wakes up to a literal horse in
yeah, my
bed.
brother, you are a horse. Like, let's calm down.
Again, what is it, looking inward?
Yeah.
The Kelpie looks inward.
Yeah. Take a good long look in the mirror, bud. So just when he was on the point of giving up hope of ever finding a bride to please him, he saw a girl sitting in the heather, watching over her father's cows and knitting industriously. Around her the bees murmured softly as they searched for honey, forming a pleasant musical background to the busy click-clack of the needles. The girl was neither too fat nor thin, not too tall nor small. She had gray eyes that were made for laughing and a red mouth made for smiling, so that the water horse fell in love with her immediately and knew that he had found just the kind of lady he wanted. Never stopping to consider what idea on the subject the girl might have, he galloped across to her, whined, and tossed his magnificent black mane.
I imagine his voice inside his head is deep, but he has like a little higher pitch voice.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, "What a splendid creature you are."
The girl, wait.
Oh,
Oh,
that was
sorry.
you.
Oh, that was me.
I fucked up the colors, everybody. It's fine.
What a splendid creature you are, said the girl, and putting down her knitting, she stood up and began to stroke the neck of the water horse, and then, to her dismay, found that she could not take her hand away. Because she was clever as well as being pretty, she realized immediately that this was no ordinary horse, and that by touching it, she had put herself in its power.
Horse a creep. You are the prettiest girl in Bara.
The
Your
water horse
eyes
said.
Your eyes are as gray as the waters of my loch in midwinter, your hair as yellow as the sands on the shore, and your skin as white as the water lilies which unfold their buds every summer. I have, therefore, decided to make you my wife.
Oh, how kind of you, the girl answered politely, knowing that she would have to have her wits about her to free herself from the magic of the water horse. However, if I'm to live at the bottom of a loch for the rest of my life, I hope you won't mind if I finish knitting these socks to keep my feet warm.
This is like putting someone down at the bar.
Yeah.
That's a little too much. Of course not.
The water horse said, equally politely. Sit down in the heather beside me and rest a little in the sunshine while I turn this heel, the girl said. Immediately, the water horse changed himself into a handsome young man with hair as black as the raven's wing and brown eyes which were strangely cold and selfish for living alone for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Nice.
Help me, bees, the girl murmured as the young man sat down in the heather beside her. And because the bees knew what was up, and she gave them a home in the hard days of winter, they flew backwards and forwards, singing drowsily in the hot sunshine and the scent of the heather and softly nodding heads of the harebells, so that all the young man wanted to do was fall asleep there and then. When he yawned for the third time, the girl said, "You must be very busy and strenuous life while I'm finishing this foot. Why don't you stretch out in the heather and sleep a little?"
Oh, what a good idea,
the young man said, and the next moment he was sound asleep in the sunshine, and having done what the girl had asked him, the bees flew off in search for yet more honey. He is extremely handsome, the girl thought, looking down at the sleeping young man. But I have no intention of marrying a water horse and spending the rest of my life at the bottom of a loch. And she beckoned to the nearest of her father's cows. Help me, cow, she whispered. And because the cow knew that it was she who watched over them in the daytime and milked them every morning and evening, she bent her head. Take the rope halter from my neck, the cow said, and place it over the head of the young man. He will then change back into a water horse and be in your power as long as the halter is there.
I just want to point out, I love in a story of fantasy with a talking magical man horse transforming, they have to clarify the relationship between the insect and the cow with the girl.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if they didn't have that, you'd be like, there's no way they'd help her.
The magical horse makes sense, but a cow helping the farmer, I don't think so.
A talking cow
Yeah.
helping the farmer? Nah. I need more backstory for that. Oh goodness.
So
There you
taking
are.
the halter from the cow's neck, the girl placed it over the head of the sleeping young man. Immediately he awoke and changed back into the water horse. But because he now was in her power, he could no longer speak and could only look at her with sad, rather selfish brown eyes. And now you must learn your lesson, water horse, the girl said. It may have been all right to carry off a girl and marry her when you first came to live in the loch, but things have changed a great deal since those days. She led the water horse off to her father's farm. I have brought you the best horse you have ever seen, or ever are likely to see, to work for you, she said. But remember this, never take off the cow halter from his neck, no matter how sadly he may look at you. And now you must bring in the cows yourself and milk them, because I am off to consult the wise man of Bara, and with your permission I shall take him the bowl of crowdy which I made yesterday. Wrapping the bowl of cream cheese carefully in a clean cloth, she set off to consult the wise man who had the sight and could foretell what the future held. Would you like to be the old man?
Sure. Can I still do my Bernie voice? Let me try.
Yeah.
There is nothing to be done now.
The wise man said.
Bring the water horse to me when you hear the cuckoo sing over Bara, and I'll see what can be done then.
That's a pretty good Bernie. And he grabbed the crowdy and shut the door firmly in her face. Rather sadly, because it was many years since the cuckoo had been heard over Bara, the girl returned to her farm and her work there, and if she was not particularly happy, her father certainly was, because the water horse did the work of 7 ordinary horses and ate hardly anything at all.
This is the father.
In 7 years, this horse will have made my fortune, he rejoiced, and then I shall take him to the horse market at Castle Bay and sell him for a good sum.
Jesus.
But the girl had other ideas. The water horse, 7 years, might seem like one day, but to her they were a very long time. And anyway, she had no intention of allowing her father to sell the creature. Every night when the horse had finished working in the farm and was tied up at the cow halter in its stable, she would go down and feed and groom him, and she brushed his long black mane. She would talk to him all of the work which had been done that day on the farm and all they were planning to do. Sometimes she would sing to him songs that the island women sang as they spun and wove, as they churned the butter and made the cheese, or as they rocked their babies to sleep, and all the time she was with him, the water horse would listen attentively and stare at her with brown eyes which little by little grew less cold and less selfish. Exactly a year and a day after the water horse had gone in search of a wife, the girl heard the cuckoo singing over the island, and she knew that the time had come. Again she fed and groomed the horse, but this night she led him out to the stable, and holding the cow halter in one hand, mounted his back and rode him to the wise man, taking with her a bag of fine oatmeal of her own grinding.
Take off the cow harness.
Wise man commanded as he opened his door to her knocking. But then we shall be in his power, the girl said.
Take off the cow harness.
The wise man repeated, I am once again asking you to remove the cow harness.
With your support, we can remove
the cow harness. The wise man repeated, having looked into the brown eyes of the water horse and having seen what he had seen. Nervously, the girl took off the cow harness, and immediately the water horse changed into a young man, taller and stronger than he had been before.
Oh,
Yeah, and this is where a different book would start, but we're gonna stay on this one.
Because, in the classic retelling.
Yeah, in the classic retelling, it goes a little off the rails right here. But we're gonna go with the original. Because of all the hard work he had done for the girl's father, his hair was as black as the raven's wing, his skin burned down by the sun and the wind, and his eyes, which had once been so cold and selfish, were now full of love.
What have you to say to me?
The wise man asked the young man.
A year and a day ago, I wished to carry off the girl and make her my wife,
The young man said.
Since then, she has talked to me of her father's farm, and I myself have worked long hours there. I have learned how very different her life is from mine, and now I know I never could she be happy in the home at the bottom of the lake. When the fairies left Bara, I should have gone too, but now, alas, there is no place for either fairies or water horses in the western lands. His voice is going to keep changing, you guys. I'm not consistent with this one. Oh, shit, next part. If you have learned that, you have learned much.
The wise man said.
Supposing you had gone away with the fairies, what place would you have gone to? To remain on the land of the youth, where no one is unhappy and no one grows old.
The young man answered.
I feel like I'm going insane talking to myself. Yeah. You are still free to go to Tirnago.
The wise man reminded him, and then, as the young man hesitated, continued.
Or you can give up the magic of the old gods and become a man, to love like one and grow old like one.
Have you heard of Jesus Christ?
I'm not really good at voices. I'm getting better, but Lord. How is that possible?
The young man asked.
Drink this potion which I have brewed from honey and the juices of 7 times 7 herbs, all gathered when the old moon held the new moon in her arms. That is beautiful. Sorry. For 24 hours you will sleep, and when you awaken, the magic will have gone, and you will be only a man.
The young man turned to the girl.
Your eyes are as gray as the waters of my loch in midwinter. Your hair is as yellow as the sands on the shore, and your skin as white as the water lilies which unfold their buds every summer. If I become a man, would you marry me?
Gladly, the girl answered, knowing that the water horse had learned his lesson, that his love was so great that he would give up his place in Tir Nan Og to stay on Bara and marry her. Taking the potion from the wise man, the young man drank it in a single gulp and immediately fell into a deep sleep. In 24 hours, sat by the girl's side, watching over him while the magic drained out of him.
Jesus.
When he awoke, he was a human and had no recollection of ever being a water horse or living at the bottom of the loch. Well, that's kind of messed up. So he lost his powers and his memory.
Does he get false memories? Does he
probably just, his memory starts at him being like a horse on the farm. So now, while the farmer grieved at the loss of his remarkable horse, he rejoiced that his daughter had found herself such a strong and handsome husband who was prepared to work from dusk till dawn and longer if need be. And so he sat the pair of them up in the farm on the far side of the island, and there they lived happily for many long years. And for all I know, some of their grandchildren or great-grandchildren or great-great-great-grandchildren may still be living here. The end. Doesn't sound very happily ever after, if you ask me.
Yeah.
It's like all right ever after.
it's like, okay, because like I looked for a few. The first story option was the poem you read
Yeah.
as a whole story,
Uh-huh.
and neither of us can do that for a whole
When thou
story.
dissolve the snowy horde, and o'er float the jingling icy board.
So we didn't do that one. And this one's supposed to be like the iconic
Yeah.
love story.
Yeah.
Like, this was why they had to tell ladies to not go near horses in the loch.
Yeah.
Because they were all like, but I can get a handsome man.
Ladies,
So
ladies, listen. If a guy wants to marry you, make him work for your father for an entire year, just to the bone. And if he doesn't, then drop him.
and just drop him.
Yeah, leave the collar on, lock him up.
If you should take anything from that story,
Yep.
that's the only moral of the story, if
That's
we're going to be honest.
The only moral.
Have him work 7 years on your father's farm.
Mhm.
If he doesn't, if he can't stand it, sell him. I think that's what.
If your man can't do the job of 7 men, drop him, ladies.
Hashtag dating advice from Aloreing. The worst dating advice you ever. As long as he only talks to you in horse form too, then that's fine.
Yeah, well, he
can work with
shouldn't
that.
talk for 7 years.
Oh,
as
that's
well.
right.
Yeah.
You know,
You should just
it was really
listen.
funny because you were reading that part, and I was like, you know, because I love The Little Mermaid and I understand every problem with it, and I'm okay with that. But he really just kind of talks at her and falls in love with her
Yeah.
because he's just talking
He
at
likes
her.
the idea of her.
So, right. So I feel she doesn't like him because she's like,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about you. And then she proceeds to know nothing about him for 7 years.
Know a damn thing about this guy. She
But
just
yet
knows he
falls
does
in
the
love.
work of 7 men. Look, Kimmy, sometimes you live on an island and your choices are Bob down at the tavern or the magical horse that turns into a kind of hot guy. You know?
And then there's your cousin, and that's like
Yeah.
50-50 at the time, right?
And your cousin doesn't do the work of 7 men. He does the work of just him. He's just Earl.
He's just Earl.
And Earl's not that impressive.
Earl's if the other two catch the plague and you really need someone to help
Like if the
take care
Kelpie
of
doesn't work out, you know, Earl will be there. Like if you're not married by like 35, you could always hit up Earl. But yeah. You got a Kelpie right there.
The more we talk about, the more appealing Kelpies at the time seem, and the more understanding.
It makes sense. No, it makes a lot of sense.
You're just helping my case for the alignment chart. That's what I like to hear. Let's hear a quick word from our sponsors then. Then we'll be right back.
Alrighty.
I didn't change the slide.
That's supposed to be
talk?
candles, I assume.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. I'll edit it post.
Yeah.
Post.
So for our YouTube
Candles.
people, look, it's our candles. They're right here. They're on the screen. We have 3 flavors. Kimmy, would you like to explain the flavors? Or
The
scents, not
flavors.
flavors. Don't eat them.
Don't
You-
eat them.
you
You,
probably-
can taste them with your
You
nose
probably
scenty
could because
scent
they're
buds.
all natural, but don't.
No, don't lick it. I just did it. That wasn't too great. No, none of you have to do it.
Yeah.
Don't
Full
do it.
disclaimer,
Oh.
don't eat them, but you could.
First up is Folklore Campsite. If you want to feel the warm embrace of the Rusalka around you as you drown into sense of joy, relaxation, witchy vibes, and something a bit moody, this is the candle for you. Experience all the love and none of the danger that would be in the arms of a beautiful, dangerous Rusalka with this Folklore Campsite candle. Okay. Woo! Next one. We got the Lost Camper. Wow, I started really strong with that folklore one, and that was all.
Let's do mine while you think about that one. I'm gonna
Yeah,
give it a sec.
let's switch to
So
Ryan's.
mine is called The Cryptid Camper. And if you're like me, you've been lost in the woods a couple times with nothing but a bottle of rum and nature. And I was like, how do I make that into a candle? So mine is a scent of evergreen rustic woods and just a little hint of that rum that's coming out of your backpack because it leaked a little bit. So, you know, check out the Cryptid Campsite candle.
Ooh, that was a good description. I like that. The final one is the Lost Camper one, and oh boy, if you have ever wanted to experience the joys of the outdoors with a hint of moody without actually getting dirty, is this the candle for you? With hints of lemongrass, sage, some mahogany is what I think it is. Some wood, some earthy tones. You know, this is the candle for you.
I believe
Like
that one is
if
balsam
Sasquatch,
wood.
yeah,
Just so everyone's aware.
if Sasquatch made a cologne
Yeah,
that made him attractive,
that's his.
this would be the cologne. This is it.
You're saying that with the assumption Sasquatch isn't attractive. So check yourself a little bit. Is all I'm gonna
That's
say.
fair. That's on me. I will not yuck anyone's yum.
Yeah,
And you won't have to yuck this candle because it smells delicious.
it does. I got mine going in
Pre-ordered.
my room right now, and oh boy, does it smell freaking good!
So they're good, you guys. They fill up the space. You'll be supporting. They are limited time,
Yes.
little promotionals. They're open till the end of this month. So go get your candles. Go to aloreingshop.com and you know what? Get one, get two, get all three because you deserve it.
Will pre-sales be open when this episode drops?
It will be open this Friday.
Okay.
So
in
in like
days
3 days
after this episode drops,
Oh, you're right.
be there. That's April 14th. If you're listening to this in the future,
Yes.
I'm sorry you missed it.
But if it's still April and it's not the last day of April, hey, my friend, go get yourself a candle. Support the podcast with something really cool that we are making by hand with a local candle maker, and just do it. That's our big promo, and it smells so nice. It smells so good.
Pick the Cryptid Campsite. It's the best one.
If that's what you think. We
this
may
is
also
not
have
a competition, but it is a competition.
It is on. There will be a little thing during our monthly celebration on which candle was the winner, and Team Folklore. I know you guys are out there. I see you.
I ain't even worried.
And you will pick right, and it's fine.
All right.
Okay,
Back to the show.
back to the show.
Alrighty. We are back.
Sorry, I need to take a quick sip. Okay, welcome back, campers. We hope you enjoyed that little break. We are now going to talk about the appearance and histories of Kelpies. So, Kelpies appear as beautiful, powerful horse-like creatures. They will either be black or extremely dark shades of blue or green. Their hooves are reversed on them, which is a little interesting Fae quirk. The Fae just don't like their feet going the right way, I've noticed. But I don't know.
Fair. They like to be
It's just
a little different.
Yeah, the ears and the feet, that's how you spot them.
Yeah.
And they sometimes kind of have like a serpent-like appearance to their mane, or there will be a lot of algae and water weeds in it. And oh, sorry, my phone vibrated. It scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I silenced it. My bad, you guys. So, when they are not in horse-like form, they transform into a more human appearance. I don't know if you can see it, but I have censored her just in case YouTube comes for us.
They would have.
But it is Camp Counselor Mothman blocking her nips with the wings.
Good job, Camp Counselor Mothman.
So he's working hard.
Yeah,
that minimum wage
he's
job.
having a great time.
He's doing the Lord's work.
Yep.
Well, let me tell you. So they can appear as a beautiful young woman or a very hairy man. So most of the time, they are sporting a lovely birthday suit or some type of green or white dreamy cloth that like just drapes over them. The easiest way to tell if a humanoid is a Kelpie is one will see that they have water weeds or sand or algae in their hair. So despite many art depictions of the human Kelpie being a beautiful young woman, they're actually most commonly a male. So, and in male form, they're dreamy, they're rugged, they're rough, they're shaggy. They look like they've been out to sea and they are ready for a mate. So,
why do you think it is that even though in stories they're almost always guys, in the paintings they are just always women?
I can tell you why I think it is from like a general gender perspective. Because men are more visual with sexual stuff and women like to read stuff. That's why I think.
Fair enough.
I think like that's the easiest way to explain it. Like,
yeah. No, that checks out.
Like, I'm a little bit of both, hence making a graphic comic novel a little spicy, you know. I don't know if it's because I like both teams, but hey, you know what? Teach their own. So anyway, so for their behavior. So now, much like their ability to shapeshift between different forms, they also got a dual personality going on. So they're either described as dangerous or compassionate. So what makes the Kelpies dangerous is how they get a kick out of drowning their victims. Mm-hmm. They are known to drag them under the water and drown them, devouring them, throwing their intestines all over the water's edge, and they go after humans because human liver is a true delicacy to them. And the male ones are specifically known to leap behind solitary male riders, gripping and crushing them or tearing them apart to snack on.
Yikes.
So pretty much I'm going to come
a different direction on certain Google searches.
This is not the revised version of this fairy tale.
We're doing the original.
We're doing original. Go to the second page of Google, you guys will find it. So though they are quite dangerous, they are also very compassionate. Since one Kelpie is designated to each lock, so I kind of like to think of them like a beta fish to a tank, where you can't have more than one in a tank unless they're both ready, you know? They are very solitary creatures, so this makes them long for partnership. And for all you out there that are thirsty for a dangerous horse shapeshifter, I got some good news for you. Kelpies search for a partner called a Liansith, which means a fairy lover. So ladies, specifically ladies, because it doesn't really go good for men in a lot of these stories, just know they got dual personality and anything can happen with a Kelpie. So there's like a 50-50% chance. Like 50% you'll get eaten or 50% you'll get eaten. Wink, wink, you know? So, thank you.
That was solid.
Thanks. I'm talking about fucking everybody. In case that was.
Yeah, in case anyone missed it somehow.
So, not only do these water creatures have the ability to shapeshift into humans, but they also have other powers. So they can use their magical powers to summon up a flood in order to sweep a traveler away to a watery grave. We can popcorn this. We haven't popcorned in a minute. You want popcorn?
They have the strength of 10 horses and the stamina of 10. Which goes back to, once again, page 2 of Google. They got a lot of stamina.
What Google searches are you
Look,
using?
Kimmy, you turn safe search off and it's over.
I don't know if doing these podcast episodes have cultivated my Google to show more of this stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure.
For sure. In horse form, their skin is extra sticky.
I mean,
so
come
think
on.
of it. Ryan, Jesus Christ. Let me finish. It's literally the next part of the sentence. It's right there. It's sticky like a mousetrap, everybody. Which makes it so the only way someone can escape is by cutting off whatever is attached to them.
Uh-huh. They can extend the length of their back to carry multiple riders at once.
You don't need a pause.
What? No, I didn't pause. I was just reading the sentence that you wrote. They can extend their length of their back to carry multiple riders.
When entering the water, their tail splashing resembles the sound of thunder. They are known to make these sounds to warn of a storm coming. Don't say it. I know you want to say it.
All right.
It's like the moment someone makes one dirty joke and like that's all you see. It just goes downhill. Okay, with all these abilities, they do have one weakness, and that's a good old silver bullet. One of Ryan's absolute favorites is simply shooting a Kelpie with one will cause it to turn into a tough and soft mass like jellyfish. So, have a silver bullet on you guys.
Yeah, always. Stay strapped.
All the ladies know what I'm talking about. We're not a child-friendly episode. That is said at the episode. Every kid listening, ask your parent what a
No, don't do that.
You shouldn't be listening. This is an explicit show. Yeah. So, Kelpies get all of their abilities from their main source of power, which is the bridle. So we're going to completely shift gears and we're getting into like the history kind of facts about them. So every Kelpie is equipped with a bridle or a saddle. These were used to trick people into riding them. But if one mounted this horse-like creature, they would get stuck to the seat and the Kelpie would proceed to drown the rider. So with the bridle being the main source of the Kelpie's powers, people would go out of their way to try and get a hold of it. It was ill-advised to go after it while it was on the Kelpie in horse form, and that's because one could drown. So people got creative. One common practice was to perform an exorcism to remove it while they were in horse form. This was always a little bit sketchy, though, because they could try and drag you down to the watery grave. So that was like a hit or miss kind of situation. 50-50. But it was more common to get rid of the bridle when the Kelpie was in human form. So it normally was somewhere near the lake, or it would be like a necklace on them. So if you got close to them and you tricked them into sleeping next to you, you could take off the necklace and have power over it. So once it's captured, the person would gain mastery over the Kelpies, but some legend says it was important to give it back to them because without it, the Kelpie would die in 24 hours or a few days. So there are even legends that keeping it would give one powers. For example, all the horse folk are going to like this. If one brandished the bridle towards someone, they were able to transform that person into a horse or a pony.
Oh.
Don't let the bronies find out about that one. Another one is that the bridle provides healing powers to the family throughout the ages as it passes down from one person to another. So they're magic. These are the magic source. This is the what you want when dealing with these creatures, you know. Mm-hmm. So not only did people seek Kelpies as a source of power, but they also seek them out for companionship. So, I was happy to find an image of a redhead wanting to hit up a Kelpie. So, I have done my due due diligence in my research. So since Kelpies longed for human companionship, even if one looked like a tasty little snack, a change in their heart could make them see them as a companion instead of a meal. But one thing to keep in mind is that Kelpies tend to run into the same issues that Selkies do. So, much like Selkies are connected to their seal skin, Kelpies are connected to their bridles. Many legends tell of women. So, Selkie stories are all about men stealing their skin to marry.
Yeah.
But Kelpie stories are all about ladies stealing their bridles to force the Kelpies to marry them.
Watch your back, boys.
Watch your back, boys. Now, listen, I'm all about fucking the Fae. Don't get me wrong. But it's gotta be consensual.
Mm-hmm.
And stealing something to trap them into being your partner for all of time is blackmail and unhealthy.
Not cool.
Great for fantasy novels.
Yeah.
Not practical in the real world. So
leave it in the books.
Leave it in the books, and everything will be fine. So not only were humans getting a bit freaky with the Kelpies, but so were horses. Offsprings that resulted between the mating of a Kelpie and a normal horse were pretty powerful. They were impossible to drown and had shorter ears than normal. So everybody...
Powerful child. A Kelpie and a regular horse. Like, you know, people talk about like athletes having kids that are like Olympians. Imagine a Kelpie that's like the stamina of 10 horses and a regular horse. All I'm saying.
It gets well, like the thing is, it like caps. So if Kelpies have babies, it's still a Kelpie, right?
Yeah.
But if a Kelpie mates with a horse, that's like up 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's 30% stamina.
30% stamina bonus. But even though most adults and apparently horses were seeking out these powerful Fae, many children were told to avoid them at all cost.
Smart.
So, which is very smart, because there are many legends about children who would get a bit too close to a Kelpie and would meet an untimely demise. So a very common theme in these tales tell of at least 7 children who would climb on the creature's back while it was on shore, only to be taken to a watery grave. So some versions of this legend says how one of the little boys would only pet the horse and will end up sticking to it, and then he is carried and drowned with his siblings or friends. And other stories will say how the one boy that pet the horse actually has to cut off his fingers to save himself and not be drowned. Now, this is really dark. And the reason this is so dark compared to the spicy dark we were just talking about is because it was a cautionary tale for the children of the Lochs. So in Scotland, the Lochs reached frigid cold temperatures of 41 degrees Fahrenheit, so like 5 Celsius for all our non-US listeners. So this is almost as cold as your ex-lover's dead heart. And it's cold, you know? So the water was way too freezing to swim. And so these tales help serve as a warning so children wouldn't accidentally fall in and drown. Plus, a majority of the coastal population at the time couldn't swim. So it helped in warning them of the dangerous waters, and that there was a version of this tale to help kids at bay. And this version specifically talk about how the kid survived because his other hand was holding a Bible. So they used it to have kids not wander around on Sunday. Well, I just got church flashbacks. That was the weirdest thing. I was like, this is the line God is crossing with me? This is what does it? Oh, Lord. So you may be asking yourself, why are legends of these creatures so popular? Well, that's because these malevolent water spirits served the practical purpose of keeping children away from these areas and warning adolescent women to be wary of attractive young strangers.
Amen.
The stories were also used to enforce moral standards, as they implied that the creature took retribution for bad behavior carried out on Sunday. So the the intervention of demon and spirits was a possible way to rationalize the drowning of children and adults who had accidentally fallen into the deep, fast flowing, or turbulent waters. So it was just the perfect scapegoat, you know? Like, you're Earl in the village, and your cousin is just not going to marry you, you know? And you're like, how can I get her to shack up, right? Well, you just tell her this tale of Kelpies and how they're so dangerous, and he's the best option.
Just
and
don't
that's kind of
stamina or strength.
No, or his flowing dark raven hair.
Leave all that off.
Or his beautifully tan skin.
Oh, calm down there.
Or all of his muscles. Just
oh boy. Where's my?
It needs to be like the sound of like a spray bottle, like a water spray.
Down, girl, down.
I'm just saying. Anyway, now that
the sigh.
that
Anyway,
let me gather myself before we go on to our next segment. It's time for Is It Science or the Church?
So let's see. We got a Bible in the hand keeps the Kelpie from drowning you. A cross over your door stops the Kelpie from coming inside. The old man said to be gone with the old gods. So I am going to go with science.
Give yourself half a point.
Yeah?
Yeah. Give yourself half a point.
Did I go in the... I thought you were going to try and trick me.
No, this is a little bit of both.
Oh, okay.
I told you I'd start shaking it up.
I'll take it.
I'm a woman of my words. So, of course, the church is going to be where we start. And is going to have a saying that Kelpies are demons. But naturally. Why are they demons?
Well, because they're Satan.
Because they're hot. That's...
Look at them.
Look at them. Raven dark hair, rippling muscles. That must be the devil. Anyway, that's because many legends saw how Kelpies had connections to Satan. So the legends we discussed earlier about the Highlander James McGregory who threw the bridle through the window because it couldn't get under the cross above the door was one of many that enforced the idea of their connection to demons. And then remember, they have the hooves that are on backwards, and there was legends like when they changed into human form, they'd still have the hooves, or they may get horns. So that was the tie. So though the church at the time commonly marketed things as demonic, this was one that had a few legends tied to it. So with having the cross as a way to wear them off, or they'd be dragging them to hell, quite literally through the locks. So I normally don't like to put something in this section if it's just like demonic, but there's actually a bunch of stories explaining how they were demonic. So that's why this one gets the pass,
and
if that makes sense. And they're hot.
The devil.
So, yeah. So a little bit of both. And then there is a scientific explanation as to what Kelpies really are. So historian and symbolologist Charles Milton Smith has hypothesized that the Kelpie myth might originate with the water spouts that can form over the surface of Scottish lochs. These are terrifying, right?
I would leave.
I haven't found things that scare me in the ocean. This made me very uncomfortable. So water spouts, specifically fair weather water spouts, usually form along dark flat base of a line of developing cumulus clouds. Whoa, that was
cumulus.
Cumulus clouds. That's totally what I said. Okay, cumulus clouds, they develop on the surface of the water and work its way upwards. By the time the funnel is visible, it's nearly mature, and due to the light wind conditions, they move around, which gives off the impression of a living form as they move across the water.
Oh,
So
interesting.
think water tornado
Yeah.
is the best way to kind of explain it. And it will like move, and because Scotland's like really foggy and has like the really rainy weather,
Mm-hmm.
you would just see like water splashes moving around, like
Yeah.
a horse running through water is what it would appear as to people.
Yeah.
So
I can
it
see
wasn't,
that. If you look at
yeah,
that
like
one on
that's
the
what I'm
left,
saying.
like it kind of looks like a horse at the very bottom.
There was one I wanted to put and I didn't, but I felt like it was just like that bottom part right there, and it was like a
Mm-hmm.
close up of it. It just looks like a big splash, like when someone does a cannonball in
Yeah.
the water. It's like that splash,
Oh, weird.
but it's more like, it's not as dense.
Yeah.
It's more like light, and it moves. And I hate it
Interesting.
so much. So it doesn't quite explain the appearance factor, like, because you don't see a horse, but I think it helps add to the mystery and how people would get sucked into the water so quickly and they drown.
Yeah.
So
Oh, cool.
it's like a 50-50 for me. Like
Yeah.
maybe it was a Kelpie, maybe it was a water spout.
Yeah. A lot of 50-50s this episode.
A lot of 50.
All right.
Oh,
What's not 50-50 is that I have a modern take with Ryan today. And I'd like to give myself a pat on the back because Kimmy couldn't find one, and she's our researcher. But I went in my old noggin and I said, man, I remember a movie called, so I won't spoil it. So sometimes we have to use our imagination a little bit when it comes to modern takes. So I want everybody to work with me here. All right. Now, let me tell you the number one source of knowledge and information regarding Kelpies, and it's not this podcast. Some of you probably already know what I'm talking about, and you are right. I am talking about the 2007 smash box office hit, The Water Horse, Legend of the Deep. Am I right?
I've never seen this movie, Ryan.
Wow. Well, that explains why you don't know about Kelpies. In this movie, a young boy, Angus, finds a giant egg in the lake, and it hatches into a small, creepy sea monster. But so this is a very short plot synopsis, by the way. This is a full-length movie. But the military shows up because it's World War II. Set up at the house of this kid who just hatched a monster in his shed. So the monster gets big and it starts to live in the lock. But one day the military's like, we need to practice firing at U-boats. So we're going to fire our cannons into the lock. So they fire their cannons and it scares the shit out of the sea monster, as you could imagine. And because of this, the seahorse no longer trusts humans. And who is this seahorse? You may be asking yourself. Well, no other than the Loch Ness Monster. And that's why they stay away from humans. And so, anyway, that is the totally accurate retelling of the Loch Ness Monster, aka Water Kelpie number 1. Thank you for your time.
Well,
questions?
Oh, wow. I really think you just covered everything.
Yeah.
I don't. You did such a great job.
If you don't want to watch a whole movie, there's a great like 12-minute breakdown of it on YouTube that I definitely rewatched because I haven't seen this movie since 2007.
I kind of want to watch it because like I saw a little bit of a trailer and it gave very like Narnia vibes.
It's made by the people who made Narnia.
Okay. Because I was like, it's like Narnia Free Willy is like what I was getting.
I don't know if it's the same person who made the Chronicles of Narnia movie or the same person who made the book, but either way, there is overlap with Narnia. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got that from just that mini trailer, so I'll
Yeah.
probably watch it. I enjoy the little like folklore
Yeah, if you guys
movies.
want, I kind of goofed about it, but it is actually. I mean, I'm not going to tell you it's a cinematic masterpiece, but it's a cute little feel good early 2000s movie.
That time when there was nothing but dolphin, free
Yeah.
whale
Well, they were just
movies.
they were just making anything in the early 2000s.
That's man, what I would have given to be a kid in a Free Willy type movie at the
Oh
time.
my god.
That's true 90s children
Yeah.
goals.
Yeah, this
Right
kid
next
just
to
had a
marine
giant
biology.
CGI water horse. Not quite as exciting.
I don't, well, he looks so cute. I saw like the little clip of him in the tub, and oh my god, that's
Yeah,
actually
it's
super
adorable
cute.
when it's a baby in the movie. Not gonna lie.
It's it sounds like it will be a good background show as I sew. That's
Yeah.
what that sounds like. Okay.
I
Well,
I
I
had this movie, the special edition one, on DVD, and it came with like a little stuffed like horse in an egg. It was very cute. I'll see if I can find a picture of it.
oh
Well,
Ryan,
I
you may
definitely
have to
don't have a
see.
picture of me with it, but I'll see if I can find a picture of like the box kit online.
You should. That sounds so precious. See, that's the marketing I'm here for. I think I have Blu-ray of Aquamarine because that was the type of
Oh shit.
Aqua movie. Did you find it?
Great news. They have the Water Horse 2 DVD special edition plus exclusive plus set on Amazon. So go check
Link in
it
the
out.
Discord.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's so funny. You open that
You
thing,
know,
just dust comes out of it.
uh, man, that I like to imagine it's like magical fairy dust that's been there way too long. You know,
Yeah.
like it glows for like 2 seconds and then goes.
Yeah.
Well, that was good. I like how you connected the Loch Ness monster to Kelpies with that.
Thank you.
You,
Thank you.
I'm proud of you, Ryan.
Wow.
You really helped carry the show with that.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
you. Woo, okay. We're gonna do. Oh yeah, it's time for the lore report.
It just keeps
I
going.
love that new sound effect. Yeah, just keep going. I transitioned that bad, but here we are, and then we'll do a lore and alignment. Oh yeah, you guys start this. I said it's all you to say it, but
Drum roll,
we can
please.
figure it out.
We have been busy campers. The last few months, we have been very hush hush about a project that we've been hinting at, and now it's time for the moment you all have been waiting for. We have candles. We are over the moon because we got to work with an amazing local candle maker to create not one, not two, but three different candle scents. We got the Cryptid Campsite Candle, the best one, Folklore Campsite Candle, and one
The real
you
best
guys
one.
voted for on social media, the Lost Camper Candle. Each candle has a different scent combination, so they all have a different vibe. The Cryptid Camper is rum, rustic wood, and evergreen, which the scent I was going for was Lost in the Woods with only a bottle of rum. We have the Folklore Campsite, which is hibiscus, honey, mahogany, and evergreen. What
I was
flower?
going for the warm embrace of a Rusalka
Nice.
without the danger.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
And the Lost Camper is sage, lemongrass, forest uad. I don't know how to say that. Cedarwood,
Yeah.
vanilla, and balsam.
Ooh. She said the candle maker was like she was going for cryptid in the forest, but make it magical.
Yeah. Yeah, we say Bigfoot's cologne.
Bigfoot's cologne.
So these candle pre-orders are only going to be in the shop for a limited time. Pre-orders are going to open April 14th and close April 30th.
Yes. I wrote that wrong.
Yes.
You're right.
So this episode's coming out April 12th. Well, at least it should. So 2 days from now, Friday, April 14th, all the way to April 30th. So go check out the shop, aloreingshop.com, and pre-order yours today. Don't miss out. These are probably, once they're made, they're gone, you know? The best part, the first 12 people to pre-order a candle will get some extra candle wax melts added to their order. So check it out today, or in 2 days if you're listening to this right away.
Yes, it will be open for a limited time. Get them while they're there, because Ryan and I both work full time and are doing a lot outside of work.
Yep.
So until this is full time, these are limited edition, baby. Now, for all of our lovely Patreons, we will be posting a special promo code. So if you order, you'll get a bonus candle wax melt. And that's just a thank you, because we couldn't have gotten funding to make these candles without you guys. So thank you for helping us get this started. And one last major Patreon update. We got the new campsite welcome kit. So if you are supporting us on Patreon, anywhere, any tier between $3 to $50, we will mail you an adorable campsite welcome kit. It has a holographic album sticker, it has a mini camp counselor Mothman sticker, and a handwritten thank you postcard of our campsite map from yours truly. And you'll get access to behind the scenes content, early access to video episodes, get to vote on future episode topics, get access to digital downloads. So become a Patreon, help support the podcast. You can see all these cool projects we have to be a little bit hush-hush about on the podcast. Just go check it out at patreon.com/Aloreing.
And I just want to make it clear, the reason we're doing a pre-order is because me and Kimmy are hand making these. These aren't like store-bought candles we slapped a candle on. Like we went in with the oils and we mixed them and we found smells we liked and we melted the wax and did everything. Is all very fun, but it is a lot of work. So these are not just going to be like rebranded Walmart candles.
Oh, no. These are made with so much love and sweat and tears. The sweat and tears won't be in the candles, but the love will be there.
That'll be all
so much love.
That'll be all over the shop, but not in the candle, don't worry. Yeah.
But yeah, we're doing pre-orders. We will also have on our website, we'll be updating when pre-orders are done, how long orders will take to ship out. You'll be getting emails for it. We know pre-orders do take a minute, but it's because, again, we're making all of these candles by hand. We're making them to order. We're labeling it. We made our own label. We're doing all of this. Yeah. This is all of us here at Aloreing. All of the love. So go check it out. Go support the podcast and get a candle. Like, ooh, it's super mean a lot. And then maybe we can do more cool stuff like this in the future too.
Yeah.
So go check it out. Go check it out.
All right. Well,
speaking of checking out, let's look at that alignment chart. What did you put as your fucking note there?
So for our audio listeners, I have the 2007 box office hit, the Water Horse Kelpie, up at Lawful Good, because that water horse did nothing wrong. As for normal Kelpies, Chaotic Evil, because there's a sentence where you literally said, they get a kick out of drowning people. Yeah, I don't think I need to justify it any further. Would you like to explain yours?
Yeah, I can justify it by how many people get a kick out of shooter games.
Yeah, but that's not an actual person.
I rest my case. Well, I put human form Kelpies, lawful good, naturally, tall, dark. That's it. That's what I'm into. So there they go. The horseman changed after a while and then was no longer a horse, which was my main concern, because I put the horse little bit more towards evil, neutral. Because I don't like horses. I've had bad history with horses.
Same.
I don't trust horses. They like, I don't know what it is. There's just something about them. I think they know I was a dolphin girl in elementary school, and I just like there's some gang war they got going on, and I'm just on the dolphin side, and they just loathe me for it. So
I've ridden a horse 3 times in my life, and every time I've been knocked off. But you know what I do fuck with is mules. Mules are awesome.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I've also been bucked off a mule.
Oh, damn.
I can't. Centaurs are the one hot folklore creature I would say nay to, because.
All right, let's wrap this.
The pun was too far. This whole episode, that's where you draw the line. Kimmy says one horse pun. Every day. I don't.
It was a good one.
Thank you. That was improv too. I normally have to write this down.
Well,
so I don't even know what to say, because I didn't get the proper acknowledgement for all the hard work.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'm done.
Well, we can't be done yet because we need takeaways.
We need takeaways.
I got mine, but I'll let you go first because I feel like I always take yours.
No, you go first. That's fine.
When it comes to Kelpies, it's a win-win, because you're either going to get eaten or you're going to get eaten.
And if your man, I'll need help with this. If a man wants to marry you, have him work for you for 7 years.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't do good, sell him.
Yeah, if he's not 7 times stronger than the average man, drop his ass.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
If he's not 7 times stronger than the average man, drop his ass.
Get out of here.
And there's a 50-50 chance.
Yep. You're either going to get eaten or you're going to get
you're going to get eaten.
Win-win situation for us millennials.
I should do the shirt and it's me finger gunning on the back.
Sometimes you get eaten, sometimes you get eaten. Either way,
it would be great if it could be reflective material, so like as it moved, it like the fingers. Okay, everybody. Oh, this has been Aloreing. Thanks so much.
You just have the most alluring damn day, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh.